originally, the way I visualized this song and putting this song together, I visualized you walking through the park and telling somebody about music. Like, say we're sharing a pair of headphones and we're walking to the park and I'm telling you about all my favorite things. Like, oh, do you hear that piano solo? Oh, do you hear that trumpet solo? Do you hear that guitar solo? Like, do you hear what the guitar player is doing? And then how the bass player is complimenting the guitar, or the bass player, he's changing throughout the entire production. Like, and that is the exact element that I was trying to bring to the table. Was I'm just sharing my love for music. I wanted to write something about something that was really important to me, which was music. Music is arguably, it's one of my favorite things in life. I can't get enough of it. And I was like, how cool would it be if I had a song about music? A song about the thing that I love so much. Having a jazz background, I started just to see how house music and jazz relate. And one day I was telling Steven, who's featured on this song, I was telling him so much about, like, Steven, I think house and jazz are very similar. And to be specific, house and modal jazz are very similar. So to start, I'm gonna give you guys a small little 1-minute history lesson. In the 1940s, in jazz music, we had a style called bebop. Bebop was very fast-paced, lots of notes, all this kind of stuff. And after playing lots of notes, it was about time for a change. And then in the 1950s, I don't remember what specific year, but Miles Davis dropped his record Kinda Blue. And Kinda Blue changed the culture. It's the top-selling jazz album of all time. It will never be touched. And what Miles did in that record was, from going to playing a lot of notes and playing a lot of chord changes, music shifted to maybe playing 1 or 2 chord changes for long periods of time. And that was transcendent. And that is the main thing that I really see when I relate house music to jazz music. A lot of times house music revolves around 1-chord vamps, which this song has a 1-chord vamp. So the first thing that I thought of when trying to mix modal jazz and house music was, I need a good bass line, man, over 1 chord. I just need a good bass line over 1 chord. And that was the main element. Originally, I wanted the song to have 2 different chord changes. So one section of the song be in 1 key, and then another section of the song be in a different key, but kind of closely related keys. That's a big thing in modal jazz. So originally the song was in a nice B flat minor, and then the second section was going to be in F minor, but I forgot. So I think it was that was then we go to the B section, which was yeah. Back to the first part. So those were the changes to the song originally, and that's where I was headed. And then, big change. So originally, I was at church. It was like a Tuesday at rehearsal. The band, we were just playing around, blah, 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 and I stumbled across this groove. That changed everything. Because when I tell you guys, I had been wanting a house song, piano-driven. I had been wanting a piano-driven house song. And I was like, something with a dancey little loop in the piano. But sometimes it's just not easy for me to make stuff like that. And I naturally, organically, grooving one day, came up with that groove. And that was the biggest change, because then I was like, oh, I love that. So I did it. Little did I know, that wasn't the key of the song. So I changed the whole entire song around that riff. Changed the whole song around that. Then look back at it and I was like, this song's not in F minor, Tori. This song's in B flat minor. And I was like, wow, what are we gonna do now? And I was like, I'm just gonna get rid of the B flat minor section. And that was the whole premise behind it. So now I'm in F minor, the whole song. I had this idea. I was like, you know what would help bring some jazz realism to the song? Having a jazz drummer play electronic drums. Because here's one thing to think about when playing jazz, and when you're playing jazz with people, you really have to have a connection with those people, because you guys are all telling a story together, and that story can kind of change at any moment, and you need people that can relate to you well enough to know where you're going and help assist you on your journey. And something that happens in jazz music is it's ever evolving. Like if you guys take your time, go listen to Miles Davis Kind of Blue or something. The song takes shape as it goes on. The drummer doesn't do the same thing the entire time. The piano player doesn't do the same thing the entire time. Nobody's repeating. I mean, they might repeat phrases here and there, but nobody is a robot in jazz. You play and you adapt to what happens around you. And I was like, it'd be really cool if my song could adapt and change just like a jazz song would, but it's house. And so that was literally my thinking. And so then I was like, Diego, if I send you the sounds I'm using on my song, can you program drums on top? And that was like a huge game changer, because then you see Diego put his imprint on the song, and now the song evolves. The drums are moving. And the swing and all that kind of stuff, y'all. You can't program drums better than a drummer can play them. You just can't. And the other thing that was a huge change for me in the song was my friend C. Mays. I sent him the song and I was like, yo, need your thoughts on the song. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, in the second verse, it just gets a little boring. Like, I need some type of change. And I was like, okay. I'm gonna go back and just see what I can do. Like, he's like, maybe like a textural change, just something to kind of keep me going through the song. And that was huge, because then I started thinking, okay, what can I do? And I was like, what can I pull from? That's when I leaned back in that bag and grabbed me some more jazz vocabulary, and let's pull that out. So then the second half of the second verse, I end up going to the 5 chord and I pedal on the 5. So the whole time we're at a and then I go here though. So then that gives me a whole new texture feel. And it's just for the second half of that verse, but it helps keep the listener interested in the song, and then takes me back to the chorus. Ad-lib vocals at the end. Because that was a huge revolutionary point for me in the song. That's when I really felt like I had something, because I was like, you know what this song could use? Just somebody pushing them. Like, all these solos are happening. Well, actually, I didn't even know these solos were going to happen. I just wanted to let the music rock. And so originally, without the solos, I just had this jam going on with the music, kind of just let it ride out. And I was going to see if it would be like hypnotic almost, with just the music rocking out and somebody just telling you to go higher. Like, I can see somebody on the dance floor dancing and just like really getting into it. It was like 1 a.m., bro. Like 1 a.m. And I'm yelling at some point. Get a little more excited. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. You heard what I said? Higher. And I was yelling in my apartment. And something that's also interesting is like, so this hype man is yelling higher, higher, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? Quit playing around. Go higher. And he keeps yelling higher so much to the point that we accidentally modulate to a higher key. So like, you ever been driving and you got the music blaring and you're singing and you're rapping and all of a sudden you hit the biggest pothole in the whole entire world and it's like, oh, I'm having a little bit too much fun. I'm gonna call it. And that is, let me cut this music down. We're gonna completely change everything. Roll these windows up, cut this music down. Let's put a smooth jazz playlist on. No more Don Toliver. We switching it up. And that is the whole entire thought behind this thing. It's like, we had way too much fun. So the whole time Steven's soloing. Come on. Song's over. For those of you who like to listen to the little stuff, the subtle stuff, the stuff that's not always easy to identify. During Steven's solo, I felt like it needed a little extra energy, a little extra bounce because of the hype man. And so I added this other synth from the Polymax. It's this. And y'all, I'm telling y'all, when you just hear the keys by themselves make the song move so much. So at Steven's house, while he was working on melodic ideas for his guitar solo, I started putting together a trumpet solo on his piano. And so I started putting it together, wrote this fire trumpet solo, and I was like, this is it. Played it, listened back to it, and I was like, it's not the vibe. So I scratched it. I spent a whole day recording those horns. Finally, I sat down another day and recorded a whole entire brand new horn arrangement, and that's the horn arrangement that made the record. From the horns, I'm gonna tell you guys what I love about horns. My favorite kind of horn arrangements are horn arrangements that kind of cascade and call and response off of each other. And in my time playing in big band, which I didn't play a ton in big band in college, but when I played in big band, I always loved solis. And if you don't know what a soli is just when one section in the band is getting to play by themselves. And I was like, how cool would it be if I had that moment in the song? So like, typically everybody drops out and it's just that band. And that's where these trumpets came in because it's just them. Okay, so in conclusion, thank you guys for checking out a little bit breakdown, a little bit behind the scenes on Feel the Music. It's currently out on all streaming platforms. I'd really love it if you checked it out. Feel the Music by Losis. I think you'll really enjoy it. Just put it on one day and just dance, man. It's about the vibes. It's about having a good time and enjoying the music. So when you put it on, just don't forget to pay attention to all these little details that I showed you in the song. More music coming very soon. You'll have another breakdown in like 2 weeks, to be honest. Just letting y'all know. So if that tells you anything, you got it. So check out the channel, check out the rest of the song. Listen to all of Losis' other music. I have so much other dance music. I think I have 3 other dance songs out right now, maybe 4. They're so great. They're so fun to dance to. Like, you could put them all on back to back and just dance your heart away. So thank you guys for enjoying it. Check out Feel the Music. Peace.